everybody wants to filter in uptight. Do we have any announcements before we start the presentation today?
Does anyone have announcements? I have a couple. We have a chili and soup member lunch next Wednesday, so 11:30 to 1 here. So if you're a member of Launchpad or friend of Launchpad, you can sign up just so we have a head count of how much soup and chili to make. So I'll send that around. And so there's a sign up here for the lunch with professionals and a listing of who will be on the panel. There is a chance, we are seeing that there might be a conflict with this space, so there's a chance we might move it to the foundation, maybe downstairs, we're not sure. So location might be a little bit up in the air, we'll let you know as we get closer to the October 12th date. And sign up here if you're not on the email list, or if you want to make sure you're following us on Facebook. Our Facebook information is on here, as well as the Bemidji Entrepreneur Group and the other Facebook group that sends out information on the Meetup each week. So take a look at this. Any other announcements?
All right, this is the Meetup. I see a lot of new faces, which is great. You know, the whole point of this is basically to give support and ideas to people that may think about starting a business, or they have an idea, they have a product, they might currently be in business and they kind of want to take another step in their business, or maybe they want to figure out how to get their current operations moving in the right direction. And you know, all you here to watch the presentation, learn about a business that's up here, probably have experiences with connections that you've made in the past, and you probably, you know, I don't know if you ever heard the game they played on the radio, 6th Degree of Kevin Bacon, but everybody knows somebody, you know, everybody knows somebody in the world, so that's what we want to use to try to help our presenters every week solve problems in Bemidji, Minnesota, which is kind of a, you know, it looks like a disconnected place, but today it's connected just like the rest of the country. So today we have Arica Kirby, owns and operates Kirby Photography. She has been a passionate about photography since as long as she can remember. She took a 10-year detour in a business, which was a pretty successful business, kind of completely opposite of what she's doing. You know, bar, restaurant owner. So basically, before deciding to do photography, she's a wife, mom, gardener, farmer, home remodeler, and NWM professional, and clearly a bit photography obsessed. She loves her job, she loves her challenges, and she is continually trying to improve herself personally and professionally. She calls herself a bit of a personal development junkie.
I own Kirby Photography. I'm located in the Paul Bunyan Mall here in Bemidji, and my business kind of started out a little bit different, but I'll get to that in a second. First, like you said, you know, a little bit about me. I am a mom. I have 2 kids, and that presents its own challenge as a small business owner, as well as trying, for me, having a business in the mall, trying to coordinate my hours, because I can't be open all mall hours because I have children who need me and a husband that, you know, most of the time wants to see me. So, you know, trying to coordinate all of that. When I opened up my studio in the mall, I ran my business for 10 years, but like Mike said, I used to own a bar and grill, and I did that for 10 years, and my photography business overlapped with that. And I originally just mostly photographed weddings. And after I had children, that was really, really hard. So I kind of got out of doing weddings and went into more portrait photography. Ran it out of my home. I rented a couple different studio spaces. Nothing ever felt right. Then I had gone and done a couple of pop-ups where I would go and do an event, like at a powwow I would set up and I would do photographs at the event, and then that was very, very successful, and I thought, well, why not do that at a vendor event at a mall? So I went into the mall in Bemidji and I set up to do the vendor event, and It was actually 3 years ago this week that I did my first vendor event in the mall, and I had a background, a single background, a computer screen, and a couple of samples. All I had in this little 10 by 10 space. And it was so successful that I decided I could build a kiosk, which is what you see here in the black and white picture. It was originally 10 by 12 feet, and I ran that business for a little bit, and I was just open here and there hours, but when I was closed it looked cute and it had a lot of display area on it. Well, then we upgraded it to a whopping 4 feet bigger, so we were 10 by 16. I ran that for a year and a half. I was a 10 by 16, so 160 square feet, and it was packed. The mall called me randomly on a Thursday and said, you have to move. Kohl's is coming into the mall, and you're blocking her burgers and they're not happy. You have to move. And I went, oh, okay. The next Saturday, I was open in my current unit. So there was no planning, it was just roll with it. So it was a whole new environment for me. So, wait a minute here, that one's not gonna work. So what ended up happening is I have the studio that I have now, and what I want to do is just show you, I created a short little marketing video, which in the process of creating this so I could show you guys a little bit more about my business, what I found is that this would be a fantastic use for my website, for my Facebook page, to have essentially an introduction to the studio and an introduction to me. And this is a first attempt, so mind you, the microphone is not great, and there's definitely changes. And that's one of the things that I'm going to ask you about after this short little video, is things that you guys think that I should be adding or taking away to the video, because I just don't know exactly what people know and don't know about what I do. Things that seem common sense to me, I realize when I speak to other people, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about when you say a viewing session. What does that mean? So it's, you know, in photography it's a normal language, but in everybody else, they don't know what it is. So I'm going to just play this for you and then open up to some different questions and things I have. Okay? Welcome to Kirby Photography. We're here in the lobby of the studio in the Paul Mall, and this is where all of the magic starts. I'm going to take you back and show you more. I'm Arica Kirby, the photographic artist here. Let's go take a look. Okay, so this is our main camera room, our main studio room. We do most of the photographing. Newborns, babies, children, families, seniors. Just about everything happens in here outside of the boudoir and pinup studio. We have so many different blankets, backdrops, and so many props. It's taken about 10 years to acquire all of these goodies, but I've got just about anything we could think of now stocked inside here. So we're ready for just about any theme or special that we want to run as well. Okay, so this is our boudoir camera room, our boudoir studio, which is situated kind of as a separate business from the rest of the studio. It's back away from where you can see in the main part of the mall. So it is a private space where we have lots of different beds and headboards. We keep all kinds of different props and backgrounds. We have different sequins and furs and things that are of course necessary for boudoir. We have all of our pinup props, so we can go just about anything you can think of with pinup. And we have lots of fun doing those kinds of sets. And then of course our shoe collection. So we do have lots of different shoes along with all of our other lingerie and items that we have on hand. And so that's where I want to take you next, is to show you our boudoir changing room. Okay, so this is our boudoir staging area. This is where we put together whether we're just having a single shoot or we're doing a ladies' night or girls' night, bachelorette party. This is the area that we like to hang out in. It's back away from the mall, so nobody knows what you're doing. It's very private. There's lots of room for hair and makeup artists, so we really can have a good time and really let loose. We do also have a very full closet, which
goes back. So there's lots of costumes, there's lots of themes, and that allows us to do anything from simple and sweet and classic all the way to adding a little bit of extra spice.
This is a much more flattering pose than the freezing that I kept doing. I don't know why it's not going.
It's technology. It's gonna freeze up just when you need it the most.
I know. Okay, so the first thing that I realized after I made this was that what I needed to do was switch right there from the back of the pinup room, or the boudoir room, show a couple pinup shots, and then show you where we actually do presets and marketing shoots, so I have another area for that, and then that would have led back to the main studio. So I realized there was a lack of flow there. But we didn't have any more time to create any more videos. So, I kind of broke this down into different steps just to open up into conversation as we go with different problems and obstacles that I face with the studio. So the first thing, I guess, is my goal with the video is to introduce myself, introduce the studio, and kind of show clients what I have and the simplicity of their sessions. But I'm wondering what I need in there. Did I duplicate things? Do you think there should be things taken out, added in? Just feedback on that, I guess.
Is this the web page you're talking about? Or
With what I just did right there, that will be, the plan is to put something like that on the web page and on my Facebook. So that way that's something that people who are wondering,
you're right.
who am I? What is the studio?
Yeah.
Can get a little more information.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would recommend maybe a bit less talking. Like, I mean, it's great to know the description and everything, but maybe more visual, like the pictures, leave them up just a little bit longer so we can get the impact of that picture. Maybe you're there, this is the boudoir space, this is this setup. Maybe switch it once, maybe twice to show what you can do differently, just briefly.
Yeah.
You don't need to go into in-depth on it. But I think let us see what the results are and a little bit about the space.
Okay, so more visual, even if the words stay, put more
And you can
imagery.
even say that in the background while they're
Yeah.
showing this, but I think it would be more impactful if it was more visual.
Yeah, well, I'd prefer not to have me standing on the screen the whole time, so.
Just a question. I noticed you have people faces and poses on your video. Did they sign a release? Because that can be illegal.
Yeah. Every session that I do has a release, and then anybody who is not okay with marketing is, all of their files are tagged when we do them, so that way we know they can't be shared. Yeah.
I have one. In the video, I was wondering, have you thought about targeting like some of the students, like at BSU, like, you know, a lot of times they may have graduation photos that they want to take, so that you can kind of target that market because you have a new set of students graduating every year. That's one that may kind of help you with that. And then the other one was looking at like the business community. I didn't really see a lot about being able to take professional photos for a lot of the business owners and stuff, because sometimes they may need headshots or
Which I do, so
things
that
like
would be
that.
good.
So maybe those two things would kind of help add to
Yeah,
showing what you offer.
awesome.
Actually, I wanted to disagree with the previous speaker. I think it's great that you speak. We're surrounded by photos. There are images everywhere. The thing I liked about it was it personalizes it. It introduces them to the discipline. And the discipline is something deep that they won't ever understand, but they can feel comfortable then with you. And so, okay, I don't know what creates a good photo, but you can show that you do. I'm going to talk a lot with Cal, who does. And how do you humanize it? How do you reach an audience that sees a million photos? We are bombarded with photos. Maybe you want to edit the speaking you do or the way you give the message, but having you on the screen is actually a big deal. It introduces the you of it, to me, anyway.
At the same time, I think it could be, I would definitely do a combination of stuff where you start out, you introduce yourself, I am so-and-so, and I do this. This is what I've got here. We offer a wide variety of portrait photography, you know. And then I would record in a more of a studio space. I would record this is what you're going to do. Now you could either do it as in a narrative style where you write out your narration, everything you want, and then practice it, you know, and do it. Or you could have somebody interview you and edit that interview and include still all the thoughts that you want to get into it, you know. And then go back and forth so that you don't go at the beginning like 10 seconds of you and then suddenly the whole show is that. But I really liked when you had, and this is a separate part, and then this is a separate part. And if you were there, kind of walking through that thing would be kind of nice.
Okay.
Rather than just a static shot of, you know, here it is.
Yeah. Kind of showing the space better.
Yeah, but I do think you give yourself a lot more, you give yourself a lot more capability and a lot more flexibility if you're not on the screen all the time.
Yeah.
At the same time, seeing you is really, really important because, you know, they aren't just buying great photography, they're buying you. They really want to know that you would treat them well and that you're going to be good, you know, the boudoir stuff especially, that you can handle stuff in a delicate way and you do all this and, you know, and you love doing it in the same way with kids, of course. People want to know, can you shoot a picture of me? But, and I love, somebody's brought up the idea of business portraiture, you know, really important because people need their, no, just joking.
Kind of going off the business photos, I just had to have some product photos done. So connecting with developers that build shopping carts, that's a lengthy job for you, you know, doing product photos and maybe, you know, we had to have some bundling together so they'd take individual photos and then they'd group, you know, kind of group them together separately. But that was kind of a lengthy process that you could probably find some revenue from. And then the other thing I was going to say is I like the idea of a storefront because a lot of people, you know, most photographers do it out of their home or out of random locations, which is good, but the thing that I like about your storefront is it's a pretty neutral location and I think a lot of people would feel comfortable going to a public place, you know, there's not, it doesn't feel as risky as going to some random person's house, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the things that I thought was really interesting, first of all, your photos and your diversity of things that you're doing is really great because most of the time you think of photography and you are just thinking about family settings and babies and weddings and things like that. But I think one of the really unique things you have there is that you also provide a destination experience. And I've never heard of a, you know, I know that photographers will do like the boudoir and the, you know, style kind of photos for people, but the idea of having like a wedding, you know, group, you know, before the wedding kind of thing for fun, like the bridesmaids do and that kind of stuff, is something that I think would really appeal to a lot of people because, you know, I guess for me it's better than going to the bar. You know, I suppose you could have a little wine here too, but anyway, it sounded like a fun thing to do, or even like a girls' night out. You know, I've got a Zumba group, these old gals, I can just see them going off and doing something crazy like that, you know, so.
And I think the best ladies' nights are the pinup.
Yeah.
They have so much fun.
I bet, yeah, exactly, because, you know, we don't, obviously we wouldn't do that thing ordinarily, you know. So, yeah, I think that's very unique, and there may be other kind of slants of things of that nature, you know, that you could even do.
Okay.
You know, like, I mean, this would maybe try an idea of going like off away from the studio, but even like with little kids, you know, you could do like birthday parties and support a theme and then, you know, take pictures and put it all around and so on. It's very clever that way.
Mhm.
So people would really, I'm sure, go into something like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about it, I just haven't got there. Birthday parties are something I think would be really fun for the kids, especially because I have so many costumes.
Sure.
So you
Oh,
can have a
absolutely.
superhero or a princess birthday, or
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
just, you know, on my list.
As a former, I mean, still a mom of four, but when they were little, you know,
Yeah,
I would have been calling you up right now.
yeah.
How big is your shop there in the mall?
2,600 square feet.
Wow.
So it was a huge jump from 160. I didn't know what to do with it, and I thought that I was gonna have so much extra room, and it was like a circus car, empty, the old studio. It was so, there was not an inch that was wasted. So as I filled it, I was like, oh, I guess I don't have room. It was crazy, yeah.
Just a thought on your script for your video.
Yep.
Is each transition tied back to your mission and your passion of your business?
Okay.
So instead of like, this is our, you know, we love to do babies or that type of a thing.
Yeah.
And tied into the passion of what you have for your business. And that introduces it much more alive in the sense of, hey, she loves to do babies, or
Yeah.
she loves to do boudoir or whatever, that type of a thing. And use that sort of a transition between each of your introductions.
Yeah, I like that. That makes it a lot more personal and emotional. Yeah.
The video goes silent when the pictures come up. And I would suggest either some music in there, or I like this idea of if you do this in an interview format, then you can have, you know, show the kids stuff. And then while the interview is going on, you can put up the stills which show kids actually in it. And so you have a continuity of audio as you move the video. And so you're not up there as much, but you're still there and your voice is there carrying the message.
Yeah. Well, and I do have some video of me working with clients, and I do hope to add, somehow incorporate that in, especially like me working with babies, because I don't know how to explain it, but anybody who's watched me, like you come in and I'm lost. I don't even know you're there. Like I'm just so zoned in, and I think that's something important for my clients to see.
Really important.
That emotion, that attachment that I have.
Because so many babies are really hard to shoot. I mean, they really are tough
Yeah.
because they don't
They
want to
don't
be
just
without
sleep like
mom,
that.
and they don't want to be without dad. You know, and this lady with this big thing in front of us scares the heck out of them.
Yeah.
So if you don't, then it's great.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I was going to say the same thing about the video of you working. And the other thing is, if the videos of you, if you could introduce a little bit of motion in it by doing different angles and close-ups. So for example, you say, here we have the boudoir closet, blah, blah, blah. Then you do some close-ups of, you know, of the actual closet, of things that you have in there.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say is put in a photo of your storefront. So if anybody walking through the mall can go, oh yeah, you know, if they've seen your video, they can say, okay, that's what that is.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. How obvious, right? Yeah.
I've got a question about your business.
Yeah.
When you're involved in shooting and doing pictures and, you know, having a party in the back, how, do you have other staff that is part of your business? I mean, how do you take care of the front there?
Yeah, I do have an assistant now that is up front, generally when I'm not. There are other times if I am there alone, I'm not left with a lot of choices. I have a cute little sign that hangs up across my door, and then my gate comes down and it just says, you know, thank you for your patience, we're in a session. Because I am limited with what I can do.
There's actually one thing I didn't see as much of it, like we all have smartphones, our cameras are pretty good. What do we need a photographer for? And what I'm thinking you're on the verge of doing is showing in different styles of photo, here's why you come here.
Yeah.
And you can either, I don't know, take the blue pill and keep shooting with your iPhone, or come on in here and I'll show you how far down the rabbit hole goes. And I've learned that from Cal, that photography is way more than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, but you do.
Right.
And if you can project that to people, you can say, here's why to come to get help.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the comment about college photo shoots. It's it's a pretty normal thing. I mean, almost every high school student gets senior pictures. From what I can remember, I don't remember college seniors making that as much of a priority. So I almost think building a market plan to make that a kind of a normal thing and kind of make it look like that's something you should be doing, is getting senior pictures in college.
Because I have some that do it, but I don't have a giant market for it, and I like the idea of creating the market.
I think it's pretty untapped, really, because you don't really, almost all the photographers target high school seniors.
Yeah.
But I don't hear of hardly any of them targeting college seniors.
Right. No, I think that is a great idea. And then they're right on that edge where they're about to have families and everything else, so
right.
I want them.
There's 1,000 new ones every year, and if you got
Yes.
10, 20, 30%, that would be a
It'd be
big
good.
lump.
Yeah, for sure.
I have something else. I think somebody mentioned something about like the experience and your transitions. Have you ever thought about like, as you introduce the different sections of the photography, maybe you dressing up like one of the things, like say if you have the girls night out, maybe dress up like what a picture would look like as you introduce that section. And that kind of goes back to what I think he was mentioning, showing a little bit more of your personality, and also kind of giving them more of, oh, this is more than just photography. This is an experience that I'm being able to see.
Yeah.
So it kind of just helps them to buy a little bit more into you, and then it shows them some things that they may not even thought of. Some of the ideas, like if you wear one of the costumes and take a picture, or if you wear one of the costumes while you're introducing what this part of your business is. So.
Or also, when you're showing that area where you get ready for the before shots, have some people getting ready. Or picking out or looking at stuff so that you can put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, make it come alive.
I'm just going to say, I don't know if the university is still doing this, but there are periods of time, certainly at the university, where events are going on, and I know they've had photographers available and that sort of thing. So, you might want to link up with the, the media people on campus. Because a lot of times they do it themselves, but they might, might be good to say some other alternatives. But then at graduation, used to have the kiosks sort of out in the wander. I mean, I know they're down at Sanford now, but right on the spot to be there for the parents, grandparents would have to be there at that moment. Just to be available for not lengthy photo sessions, but to capture that moment with a professional photographer. I know again, having family and kids and stuff, I would definitely go for that. And then like you say, then you hook that person and link them with you, and they have them come back, even if it's just a short moment with them.
Yeah. Okay. I have more questions. So, another obstacle that I seem to face, when I first started out, everybody texted me. Okay? That was fine. I had time. I didn't have that many clients. I was shooting, maybe 10 in a week. Okay? Everybody would text me. It was fine. My busiest week, I think I had 50 sessions. Like, it was insane. Granted, a lot of them are 15-minute photo shoots. I don't have time to text everybody. So I switched. I got an online scheduler. It also improved my attendance, because when people book by coming in and saying, I want a session, or by calling, 50% show up. When they've paid, they all come. So my online requires payment, and that has helped a lot. I can see some clients struggle with that, which I've been working to educate them that they can come in and prepay, and I can give them a code and they can book their session anytime they want. So I'm working with them to educate them on that, because I have a lot of cash paying clients and they can't book online. But one of the things that I'm working with is how to encourage, because once people use my online scheduler, they love it, and I don't ever have them call or text me again. They always go to my scheduler. And it's so easy, and so it should work here. One of the things I had thought about was creating like a landing page, so when you go to my website, and hopefully it loads. Oh,
Continue.
okay. One of the things I thought about was creating, when you click on the online scheduler, that would create a landing page where again there was like a short little video that just was basically a short explanation of what session you would want. Because that is something people seem to struggle with. But if you were to book now, it brings you to my page where, and this is also linked to my Facebook, so you can click book now and it'll bring you right in. But it brings you to my session types, and it breaks it down all the way, you know. And there's so many on here because what I used to do was just have basically 3, and then people would be like, I don't know what to book, because they can't read the description. So I changed it so there's a 3-month, a 6-month, a 9-month, a 12-month. They're all the same session. But then the client doesn't have to think about it because they were struggling with that. But like it is just such a simplified process, but I'm wondering if, other than a landing page, which then, you know, I may have questions on that video, but because you click on the session type that you want and it shows you exactly which time is open tomorrow. So only dates that I'm there are highlighted. Like, it's a very simplified process, but how do I get people to want to use it the first time? That's my challenge.
Do you mean they call you up and say, oh, could we schedule this right now?
Right, they'll call or they'll text and say they want an appointment or Facebook message, and we'll say, great, you're welcome to use our online scheduler, it's at this location, otherwise we can walk you through it. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you have on Thursday? Well, here's what happens. You ask me what I have on Thursday, and so I text you back. I have an 11 o'clock. You wait 3 hours to text me, somebody else took my 11 o'clock. Now you can't have that.
Good.
So trying to encourage them to use that so that way I don't run into that problem. Yeah.
I had the exact same thing. I still have the exact same thing. Driving people to the online,
Yeah.
because it's easier. Because same thing. Well, what do you have available on Thursday? Well, we have 2 different rooms, and there's different bookings for each one. To coordinate with everybody, it might be easier to look at. I mean, so basically, it's repetition.
Yeah.
There's a lot of repetition, and it's like, you know, I can book it for you here, or if it's easier for you, you can see the whole schedule on here.
Do you have any incentive for booking online or anything that?
Not really. I mean, I guess I don't. I did used to do the full payment at the time of booking.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if that was stopping people, if that was kind of, because a lot of times it's groups and not one person is paying for everybody, so it has a little bit more of that, which you don't necessarily have.
You know, I if somebody called me, I would just tell them directly, you know, I can't really tell you. I'm not sure what I've got. It's on my scheduler online.
Yeah,
Go there and they'll tell you, it'll show you what's available, and then you can choose.
Well, and I try to walk people through the ease of it, but if I say I don't know, I might sound kind of dumb.
But you don't know.
Yeah, I just don't
I
want to
think
look
a better way to say it is, I can take your appointment now, but the problem is there's multiple people online booking things, so by the time I get off the phone with you, go to book it, somebody online could have already taken that space, so
Right.
it's better off if you go on there. That way you know exactly when you can
Okay.
get a time.
Yeah.
But it needs to be positive and not negative.
Yeah.
I don't know it's
True.
negative. I do know, and it's hot, so bite to
Right. It also creates a
It's good. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Urgency.
urgency. Yeah.
Would it be possible if you were on the phone with somebody to say, okay, well, I'll get your information and I'll just pop into my online scheduler and see what I have?
Yeah. On the phone, I will walk them through it
Well,
if I
you
can.
can do it for them.
Yes. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
If they call or if somebody stops in the office, then we book that for them. But it's the people who are texting and Facebook messaging that are my biggest struggle, because that's always a delay back and forth.
Sure, yeah.
I think put a message on your phone, you know, right when they call into you, have that message, and then, you know, say if you want to stay on the line and talk to somebody from here,
Yeah.
press whatever, and then it'll actually start ringing.
Oh, I like
Because if-
that. How do I do that?
I honestly don't.
Anybody know?
Somebody will know how to do it, but
Call Paul
I-
Bunyan or somebody, they'll tell you.
yeah, just come up with that nice message on, it's, you know, about booking online,
Yeah.
because it's more accurate.
Well, and it could also give me an upfront expectation.
It might cut your phone calls down by
We may be with clients right
2/3.
now, so, you know, something that says that, because I think a lot of times I've had people stop by and they're like, well, I called you twice and you didn't answer, so I just came in. Right, but you called and I happened to be, now granted it's getting better because I've hired an assistant, but I didn't have one for a very long time, and if I was with a client, if I'm photographing you, I'm not stopping to answer my phone.
Yeah, I think it would, you know, it would give them a couple messages and answer maybe their questions before it actually starts ringing on your physical phone.
Yeah.
And then if they still need to talk to you, if the phone rings, you know it's gonna be something,
To book,
you know, or not to
yeah.
book, you know, cause you're kinda already telling them.
Or
how
maybe
they
some
should
change
book.
or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you can probably get away, you know, get away from a few extra phone calls in a day and taking you away from your photography.
Yeah.
Well, even like an auto reply on a text message or an email is possible that says, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. In the meantime, you can look at our website and book there if it's, you know.
Which I do use robots on my Facebook, but I don't know how to do them on my texting.
Do you have the number go directly to your cell phone?
I have a cell phone for the studio.
You can, we use grasshopper.com,
Okay?
and so that's a phone service. We actually have our local like business tuning number directly through Grasshopper, and it's not too called anymore, but they have a number.
Yeah.
And you can put answering service on there. So
Oh.
listen at first and it says dial, 0 for operator or whatever, 700 for Sarah. But you can just
Sure.
put a message on there first, and then it rings to you. And then on your cell phone too, you can see it's coming from that service.
Oh, okay.
It's really portable.
Yeah. Well, I would like that. Yeah.
Is this mobile friendly?
Yes. You can book online. Yeah.
No, I meant like.
On cell phone.
Oh, yeah, on your
Yeah.
phone. Yeah, you can book on your phone. Because that's how, usually when people call in, I'm running the studio phone with my phone in my hand to book.
No, I just had a question. You
Yeah.
kind of asked her about it, but do you offer any incentives for people to book through the online schedule?
I don't right now.
Maybe that's a way to kind of introduce it. Maybe if
Yeah.
you can, afford to do it, maybe something small like 10% off if you book your first session online, or just to try to introduce that to them, and then that way they at least will try to go and do it to get that discount.
Yeah.
And then once they do it, they love it, and then they don't get the discount, but that first
Yeah.
time.
But I don't have to encourage them anymore.
Right.
Well, and when I offer discounts, it's for online bookings, so that they now they have that incentive to go online and
Yeah.
book it online. I also switched from asking for full payment at the time to a portion,
Okay.
and that seemed to help a lot more. It made it easier. I mean, yes, I was taking payments when they came in, which was
Yeah.
a little bit different, but it seemed to make it easier when it was a group that were paying separately.
Okay. Yes.
So just a different perspective. So I completely understand why you want to use this. I think that it's fantastic. But for me personally, and just speaking for myself, no matter what type of pictures I'm going to work with a photographer for, it's still a very personal thing. And so for me, one of the reasons that I would want to talk to you is to have that kind of voice-to-voice connection if I don't know you, to
Sure.
see if you're somebody who I might be comfortable
Yeah.
scheduling a session with. So I think that the video in showing yourself and your personality and how you work with clients is going to be really important for those people who want to make that personal connection
Right.
before they schedule.
Yeah. And you are right, because there are clients who should never come to me because we don't click.
Sure.
Yeah. So that is important.
Another thing that that we've experienced a lot, and that is, you would be stunned. I was stunned when I discovered that there were many, many people who really have trouble with computers, just terrible trouble with computers. And if it was up to them, they wouldn't buy anything from me if they had to do it all themselves. They just wouldn't do it because they don't know how. And they get so confused,
Yeah.
you know, and that's just something to think about.
Yeah, and I do have a lot of people that stop in and book,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it's when people realize how easy it is and how much it simplifies their life, that's what I'm kind of looking for, is it does make things easier. And I have people who are cash payers who what they do is they will go on there and they'll say, hey Erica, it looks like you have a 2 o'clock open, can I take that? I'll stop by at 4 today and pay for it. Well, then I set it aside. But they just don't have a card. They don't pay any other way.
Maybe just have a tablet kiosk out in your retail store, so when you're busy, they can play around with that, look at times, book their time and pay cash.
Right, that's good.
That way, you know, if they see that you're busy, they can kind of keep themselves occupied with exploring what times are available. And then once you're done and you get a time to break away, then you can talk to them and they'll have a better idea of what time they want to book. So you can make that cash transaction a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You could also have going alongside your sign-up manager kiosk, a little monitor there with kind of a self-running view.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of like, welcome, this is what it is, you know, and about myself, and, you know, you're welcome to go ahead and schedule an appointment, and what I'm doing. You know, kind of a little expansion of we're doing a, you know, a session type of thing.
Yeah. No, I like that. We've kind of talked about that too. I've looked into how to do that. That's something else where I'll have to find somebody who can assist me because I don't know how to loop a video to these screens. But somebody here must because it's out there all the time. So I don't know how to do that.
It's right in your, it's right in your photos on your.
Well, I know how to hook it, but I don't know how to keep it looping.
Yeah, you just hit
Because I would need a whole nother device dedicated to that device, right?
No.
It just says continuous loop somewhere in the settings right there.
Okay.
Just hit it.
So somebody
just keep
who's
on.
good at that, I need help.
No problem.
Okay. I don't know how long you want me to go. I just kept writing questions and I thought I'd go until we didn't have time.
Yeah, we have 15 minutes.
Okay. So, I don't know, I lost my. Okay, so affordability and potential client expectations, one of the huge things, and I don't know the solution to overcome it, and I don't know if anybody in here has the solution to overcome it. I know as a photography industry, we hear it all the time, but people understanding the value, the affordability of what they're getting. Oh, my cousin Sarah says she'll do it for 20 bucks. Great. Do you know what you get when you buy a $3 bottle of wine? That's what you're gonna get. So, like, I'm trying to make sure people understand, and then at the same time, I am affordable. My price structure is set so that way you can have a $50 budget and you can have a $500 budget. Of course, my target market is the $500 budget, but I have a $50 budget, and I still value those clients as well. But people will walk by my shop, and it looks cute, it looks fancy, you know, and people walk by and they'll go, oh, I bet it's really expensive. Do I chase after them and hand them a flyer? Like, how do you educate people on affordability and pricing? Because I'm not competing on price in the sense, I'm not cheap. I am not inexpensive, but my value is there for what I charge. Yeah.
Do you have a poster up that maybe says like starting package and lists out exactly what they get, so they can just look back, but you not have to ask you, because some people don't want to ask.
Well, I keep these, which I did bring them if anybody wants them. I keep these outside on a clipboard, right by the door.
I would say one big poster, really clean,
Big
font,
poster.
like
Fall special,
starting,
$49.
and this really big.
Yeah.
What's all in that package and then big price.
Okay.
That one thing.
Next time.
You're not gonna read too much stuff to read.
Next time you go through a big mall, you're walking by Gap and all those stores,
Sure.
you see one giant price, and they don't give you a ton of information.
That's true.
So you kind of like, well, what else do they have for you?
I need that billboard.
Well then, and then it happens to me a lot at the store. You know, I have like you said, you have the cheap options, and you have the really expensive options, and then you kind of coach them on why this is this price, why that's that price,
Right.
and the reason why this costs this much is because this is the best. And this is cheap because it's not.
Right. I mean,
so
you don't have to buy
it's-
prime rib, but if you want it to taste good.
That's
Yeah.
it's just the simple. I think people kind of lose track of that. You know, you get what you pay for.
Well, now, wait a
Sometimes.
second. You get what you pay for, but wouldn't you have to say that if you shot a picture for $25, it would be just absolutely, a person's personality would be captured just as beautifully as if they paid $500? Or do you shoot lesser pictures for the $20?
No.
So there you go.
It's the same.
So it isn't just what you pay for.
Right. Well,
You're always getting quality.
The
How
quality-
much do you want?
the difference being, if you have a $50 price point, what you're taking home with you
There you
is
go.
different than but the experience will be the same.
There you go.
I'm still going to want to high five or hug your child when they leave. I'm still, you know.
And emphasize that.
Yeah.
Emphasize the experience.
Yeah.
The other thing is, how many times is the baby gonna be 6 months old?
Right, and that is the other thing that I have struggled with, because I do tell people all the time, and it's something I've tried to figure out how to get more people to understand. I don't know how many people in here are parents, but if you're a parent, have you ever said you had too many pictures of your child?
Yes. I'm the first one.
Here, let me show you.
Fourth one, you're looking at.
You keep talking about the price, and I do have kids. I've got 1.5-year-old twins, and we've been to professional photographers and paid $1,000 for a package. But my wife actually did professional photography when she was in high school, worked for her grandma, did it in college, and we have our own professional camera. But we go and paid for these packages because she sees the value in it. I don't understand it. She hasn't been able to explain it to me because men and women don't communicate. But you get them, if you could get them in with that cheap, yeah, she's not in the mood today, she's at work, thank God. If you could get them in with the $50 package, but then explain that value, forget about the price once you get them in. Help me understand what the value, why do I pay $500?
Because your child listens to me better than they do your wife.
No, you're in trouble.
I mean, well, when they come in for photos, that is true usually. Because I don't like to photograph my own children, truth be told. I shouldn't have that on tape.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of one of those gallery junkies on the internet where they have, well, this is the professional photographer one, and this, have one of those in your window. That's like, uncle, cousin Sarah did this, this is what I did, exactly.
Or
so that they understand the concept anyway.
Yeah, or even like an iPhone, like someone mentioned, everyone has a phone. Well, sure, I can take a picture on my phone, even with the new portrait, it's not gonna be a professional,
Right.
It's still amateur.
Yeah.
So.
It is still different, yeah. So, if I can, because it's really, really something, I'm gonna skip this one. We'll save that for later. One of the things I just was really hoping to get some feedback on is a referral program that I'm just starting to implement, and I'm just getting to the last, I think it's ready. I do have a lot of clients that refer a lot of people back to me. However, they don't always, they'll tell people, but they don't always get them back into the door. And so I was like, well, how do I get this to work? So I started asking clients, different questions. And my goal now is to give all of my clients, when they get their package, so when you come in and you get your photos back from me, if you've purchased digitals, you get a little drive. If you've purchased prints, you get a little package. In that, my goal is to have the 5 referral cards. Now, so they're gonna say, Mike wants to share a gift with you. Bring this card to your session and receive $20 off your order. Right now I have it of $75. I don't know if I have to have a minimum on that, but I just am thinking this out. And so what happened is when Mike gives a card to somebody that's a new client, they get $20 off, Mike gets $20 in credit. So now what will end up happening is over time, there will be 5 cards. All 5 cards come back, Mike has $100 sitting at my studio to spend. The goal is he's brought 5 new clients to me, I want to reward him, and obviously I've made money off of those 5 clients coming to me. Maybe they didn't all spend big, but they should be returns. And so I'm just looking at ways to encourage that. And it's funny because I have a couple people that always say good things about me, and I ask them first because, you know, they already refer people. And they're like, oh my gosh, are you gonna give me more than 5 cards? Like, as soon as there was an incentive, they were like, oh my god, well, this person hasn't been there, I've been telling this person to come. They're listing out people to get their $20. So I thought, well, it'll be worth it, you know? So that's where I'm just kind of curious. I don't know if anybody has a referral program in their business. If you do, how do you do it? But I know, like, I referred tons of people to my chiropractor, and I was super disappointed because after she told me that she had 10 new clients from me, she goes, I'd forgotten my cash. I'd left my purse in the car. I'm like, I have to run back and get it, you know, and I had my kids, both, one on each hip. And she's like, oh, it's okay, just pay it next time. And I was like, I just referred 10 new people, and not even, like, I was just bummed. And I still refer people. I wasn't referring for the gift, but boy, it's nice to be appreciated. I referred somebody to my insurance agent, and I got a card in the mail. I can still remember what I bought with that $10 gift card because I was so impressed that I got a thank you from that business. And that's what I want to do for my clients, because that warm and fuzzy feeling you get, that's what I want them to keep, you know? So I don't know if anybody has ideas.
I think I might be slow.
Yep.
I know this, anyway. Up there where you have, you know, I get all the things on the referral, I think it's great, I just took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Awesome, thanks.
All good ideas are stolen. But anyway, you say upon 5 referral cards, the return client receives a half-price medal.
Yes. Okay,
What is
so
that? I mean, that.
my regular sessions all include a metal print. They vary in size, but they all come with one of these.
Oh, okay.
And that is why I brought it. And that is something I'm still struggling with because it is beautiful and they're great and clients love them. But if you've never been to me, you don't necessarily understand what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that.
Before. Okay.
But my referred clients returning, they get it. They
Oh,
know
okay.
what they're getting because
Okay.
they're already building a wall of these.
Oh, I
So now they get to buy an extra one that they love.
Oh, okay.
And if you have 2 kids, well, now you can do them separate instead of keep doing them together every time you do a shoot.
Sure.
So,
Or maybe you should put a picture like of what a medal is, with, right there, half-price medal, and show what a medal is, because like, I'm with her, what is a medal?
well, and on my main booking, I think I need that, yeah. Like I said, my returning clients know, because they've got them in their house.
I'll have to go over so I can be a returning client then.
Yes.
Then I would know.
Yes.
You'd help me be educated, good.
Well, you come on in, we'll take care
So
of you.
Okay.
I have a question about is there a reason why you're just limiting it to 5? I would just say, why not just,
Because if you
Keep it.
only have 5 when you're giving them out, you're going to say, hey, Jim, I'm going to give you this card, but I only have 5 and I want my $100. You're going to go in, right? Like, you're going to have an urgency because you have a limitation. Now, if you called me and said, hey, I gave all 5 of mine away, and I said, yep, they've all booked, if you come back into my shop, I will give you 5 more. I'm not going to limit you, but I am going to limit you initially because that puts, it holds it together. Yeah.
All right, we're on our last 5 minutes. I think this was great on how you had your questions lined out, and I think you made the most of an hour.
I feel like
I think it was great. That's why people come here. You know, a lot of people enjoy giving suggestions, and I think if any of you made suggestions like the grasshopper comment or anything like that, write it down so she can have, because she was too busy to write things down because she's the presenter. So write that down, give it to her, make sure you get it to her so she has things to research when she goes back to her business. But the last question of the day, and I bet you've seen it before, but what can we do to help you?
So I think initially, I guess, is really just obviously referrals. If anybody needs cards, let me know. But otherwise, referrals, social media sharing, those kind of things, because getting my name out there. I mean, I feel like it's out there, but then I run into somebody and they're like, oh, I haven't been in the mall 5 years. I didn't know there was a photography studio. I don't know how you don't go for 5 years, but I'm a girl.
I fall in that category.
What's that?
I said I fall kind of in that category. I stay out of it for 5 years. But, all right.
It wasn't a Dairy Queen, it might be.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah.
Right there, back. But,
It's hard to be 2 doors over.
Yeah. So, thank you, did a great job, and thanks for all the
Yeah, thanks for all the awesome ideas, I really appreciate it.